Jai Hind, and today we have with us Colonel Gaurav Dimri. Colonel Dimri is an ex-NDA and then he commanded a regiment in the Armored Corps of the Indian Army. After finishing his command, Colonel Dimri decided to seek a second career in the corporate. He came out, he did an MBA in the human resources from the prestigious Management Development Institute in a regular course. And after that, Sir has been with, earlier he was with Trident Group of Companies in the manufacturing side of the HR. He led the function there. And now Sir is the head HR with Sarda Group of Companies, which is in the service side of the HR. So he has a wide and deep understanding of the HR domain. And today we have invited him to help us understand as to what are the various aspects of HR as a career option for service officers when they are transitioning from uniform to the corporate. So, welcome to the talk, and we hope to gain from you today, sir.
Thank you, Capt. Vipul. Indeed, an honor to be part of the platform. And as I've always said that the human service which you are undertaking for the colleagues, fraternity in service or planning to transit or have already transited, one feels really honored to be part of this initiative of yours. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. My first question would be to set the kind of tone of the conversation today. Why would you recommend HR as an option, as a career choice to officers of the armed forces? And why not something else? Why HR? What makes HR a recommended option?
Yeah, I think the start point could not have been with a more relevant question than this. And to everybody, good evening to everybody who's planning to transit or has already transited. The specifics of HR will be chosen as a domain. And it's the most pertinent question. And if you all have joined, then you may have those queries in your mind for transiting into corporate world into the domain of HR. Now, there are two, three aspects to this. One is related to our profession of arms, and the other is related to the perception of the other side, the corporate world. So I just take both the things separately. We're aware that being in uniform for whatever now, whether we've been a short service officer or a PMR officer, or an officer who's rendered full service, services per se are known for certain ethos, values, and certain characteristics, certain defined qualities which are ingrained into us from day one of our service. Moment we join the service, even for the academy days, we're imbibed with certain qualities which the corporate world looks for. And the foremost quality is the leadership skills which are ingrained, imbibed into us by a very, very robust and structured process. And that translates into our ability to remain level-headed in adversity, especially when we are faced with human adversity and human challenges, maybe under fire. It also translates into our ability to take quick decisions at a very young age. We are trained to take decisions which will have an outcome of life and death. So, and that is based again on the ability of a leader, military leader, to have those problem solving skills, that analytical ability to understand the background of a problem, come on with certain A, B, C, D solutions and then apply the most relevant solution. So all these coupled with our attributes, organizational attributes of rock solid discipline, our ethos of commitment to the cause, our ability to adapt quickly, our ability to be flexible in situations, tolerance for ambiguity which we have, all this plus those tangible aspects that in the services we imbibe so many functions we in our various tenures at various geographies that not strictly confined to operations, military operations or strategy per se. We follow, we are trained into recruitment. We part of as part of our profiles at various levels. We are there to train both the soldiers and officers, whether it is promotion cadres in the regiment or training appointments at instructional academies. We are trained to undertake analysis of and evaluation of training. We are part of performance assessment. From very young age, we are assessing soldiers and squadron commanders, company commanders, commanding officers. We are assessing officers, grading them. There is even aspects which we are trained so effectively as part of our service profile is grievance management. We have sober systems in the regiments at company levels, at battalion levels, where we're not only supposed to counsel on varied aspects of issues, human issues being faced by soldiers and families, but also be part of disciplinary proceedings, conflict resolution, and grievance handling, and even be part of the exit process, where the start point of an exit at the unit level. We may counsel the dissatisfaction, we address the dissatisfaction, we try to address those issues which are compelling a colleague or a subordinate to leave service, which is a trained asset. So overall, all these aspects of human resource management, which the corporate world looks in various verticals and sub verticals, we actually perform at various levels, at various functions in our service life. So ideally, one needs to reinvent, understand what the requirements of corporate world are, and align these attributes with the requirements of the corporate to effectively get into a role of an HR professional. These aspects make it a suitable choice, I would say, provided one has that drive and passion to be part of the human resource management vertical of an organization.
Right. So what I understand is, sir, that the corporate does know that the how of doing things, leadership, adaptable commitment is a part of the constitution of armed forces services officer, and then what we do further adds to that capability in terms of the functional roles which we at commanders at different levels in different terrains undertake. So that kind of premeditates or prepares a service officer for an HR role. Still, to bolster his chances, his or her chances of getting a HR role, would you be able to recommend some specific, like you did a full-time MBA, but besides that, besides doing a full-time MBA, are there any other skills or certifications or trainings you would recommend for transitioning officers which can help them transition smoothly into an HR role?
So that's a very pertinent and a very relevant question. That, as I said, that in case we are already trained into those attributes which are the hallmark of an HR professional. So why we should not have an automatic transition, and why would there be a requirement to undertake certain formal, or I won't say semi-formal, but less than formal structured trainings, certifications, or courses? Because for the simple reason that while being in the services, while the attributes which are being looked into an HR professional's role are can be replicated, but there are facets which involves a cultural dynamic difference, a difference in terms of the nature of workforce. While we are handling trained soldiers, trained officers who come through a very robust induction process, onboarding process. In the civil side, in the corporate world, the workforce which is being handled is totally different. The intellectual, educational, cultural setup of the human element of that organization is totally different from a very uniformed and structured nature of manpower in the services. Plus, there is a very, very overhanging factor of manpower cost. So, while being in the services, we are not directly part of aspects such as compensation and benefits, because those policies are structured and given to us and laid down. Policies of discipline, policies on training and assessment, Even performance management is a structured process which is already handed over to us. While in the corporate sector, those dynamics vary from organization to organization, at times even from departments to departments. There are aspects of again certain engagement activities, certain training and upskilling activities which have a different context in the corporate world. Plus the aspect of overall cost of that manpower which is part of that organization, which we are not fully conversant with how that those dynamics work. So in order to understand those tools, those facets of business which go into those aspects which we are generally less aware in the services, one would recommend to undertake these training programs, certifications, depending on one's profile. At times, age and also plays a factor. So not only there are structured courses like 2 year or 1 year MBA programs, even you have the DGR courses. Other than that, if somebody wants to undertake and upskill oneself to prepare for a role, you have certifications from PHR, the Professional Human Resource Program, SPHR, SHRM, you have People Matters, Site HR. There is the certification programs from Ernest and reputed names like Ernest and Young. So if one has an opportunity, one has the inclination, one has the time, and one has that passion. So in order to align those skills with the tools of human resource management in corporate, one must undertake the certification and courses, maybe a broader framework of human resource or specific certifications in particular verticals of sub verticals of HR. That will prepare oneself, and it creates gives an input to the organizations which one wants to work for in the corporate sector, that you are aligning and by upskilling yourself to the requirements of the corporate. That indicator is also very crucial at times.
Mm. So from what I understand, sir, what you're saying that, while there is the regular courses if one wants to, other than that, there are institutions which provide specific, such as SHRM, People Matters, and of course the DJR course is there as which is offered to some of the officers. I have a very specific question. So, say I, being a service officer, I do have some exposure to the HR, may not be corporate HR, but I have some idea. And then I do a course, etc. Would education in law or compliances improve my chances of getting a opening in HR, sir?
Again, a very pertinent question, I must say, because aspects which we generally tend to overlook but are very crucial from the functioning of the corporate world, the aspects what you just mentioned, corporate law, risk management and compliances. Now specific to HR, if we talk, the organizations pay a lot of stress on what we call social compliances. So it's not only social compliances which are absolutely essential from the point of view of statutory guidelines issued by the state or central government, but also there are customer guidelines which the organizations have to follow in terms of social adherence to social requirements, laid down norms which come under the purview of the HR. We also have the workplace safety compliances requirements which have to be met as part of social audits and social compliances. Even EHS aspects, the employee health and safety, CSR aspects. Organizations are required to devote a certain budget for CSR activities. So, because of the requirement to have those professionals who have the ability to engage with plethora of agencies, with people, and undertake those activities which we routinely undertake as part of people-friendly ops. Even our CSR compliances are also an area of focus for corporate world. So given an opportunity and given an inclination in one's desire to transit to these sub verticals, they are absolutely very essential verticals, and uh, getting trained and having certifications in them apart from the routine certifications will open up better revenues. And so even there are financial compliances which are required to be adhered to by the organization. But then, of course, as service officers, because of a lack of understanding of and experience in handling financial matters, one would not recommend that. But definitely, corporate law, yes, to an extent, but social compliances, EHS compliances, CSR compliances, even training compliances and understanding of the requirement of adherence to what are the laid down learning and development compliances and regulations will also be a very, very attractive facet in an individual's service officer's profile for the corporates. Definitely, that's a very, very in thing, I would say.
Right. So just to sum it up, uh, if possible, one can do a regular course, which is like is there, but if not, at least some certifications and maybe a certification in particular in terms of the corporate law, etc., can give a certain edge to an officer wishing to transit into HR. Now, my next question, sir, is more closer to us, and that would probably, I would say, is a question which everyone wants to ask. What are the typical challenges or the common challenges faced by officers when they are transitioning into HR? I'm not saying transitioning into corporate, but transitioning into HR as a functional role. You've been there, you've done that, so how would you say that these are the typical challenges, or something you would have liked to do differently if you were again given a chance today to be an HR professional? From I mean, things which you thought carried from your service experience and those things.
So while, as I said, that we already carry in our profile over the years in the service life trains us to be, leading and an understanding of human resource function, the service. Yet, it is not a cakewalk to switch roles from being a military leader to a leader in the HR vertical of a corporate world, because yes, there are challenges. And I would say that if someone wants to pursue a career in the field of HR, then one must first define one's passion and identify that passion before transition and work to, as we said, of certain training programs and certifications. Once you've identified that passion, to acquire those skill upgradations, so that the profile, it gives you a shine to the profile that yes, you are undertaking those skills which the corporate world is looking for. That is the academic part of it. So the transition phase has to have a plan, and one of the aspects of the plan has to be upskilling for those relevant roles. Now, the other aspects which come is that the corporate world functions on a totally different wicket and domain than the services. I mean, it is not the way we are trained and we work and perform. So one has to understand that HR is not, it is a support function in the corporate world, but manned by professionals who will have larger corporate experience than a service officer, but much younger in the age profile. Even the age of the functional heads, the vertical heads, and even CHROs would be much younger, especially if somebody is transiting by taking a PMR. So one has to really adapt and be flexible to accept the working with much younger professionals, but those professionals would have the relevant work experience, where our understanding and our flexibility comes in to make use and advantage, take advantage of that experience of these younger colleagues, apply our own maturity and experience to lead them. So that is one part. But many a times we need to be, the services gives us an edge in terms of being slightly aggressive in execution of the work. Probably we have to at times restrain ourselves. We have to adapt to the ethos and organization's work culture, and have a calming and balancing impact by the sheer experience which we carry in terms of understanding of human nature, which is expected out of us. And coming on to a question of if I would have done differently, probably I would have could have started my career with a multinational corporation. But then to gain the advantage of a very challenging work environment, I chose a core manufacturing sector. The advantages which clear.
Thank you so much, sir. You have been very patient in terms of helping us understand the various aspects around transition. I'm done with my questions. I'm grateful for your time and effort, and I wish that all those who are listening to you, they get to have a smooth transition.